Hi there, I just thought I'd give you an update on the ATS 25. I've had some quite good response to my videos, and thank you very much for everyone who's taken the time to watch and to comment. These little Chinese receivers seem to generate an awful lot of interest. It's nice to see. I often wonder why, because I wonder why I bother with them. Any of the receivers you can see behind you, if I just get out of the way, we've got the RD525 there, the Kenwood R5000 FRG 8800, and even the HF transceiver there. All far better receivers, but we like to play around with this stuff. So what I thought I'd do is I go through some of the questions that I've had on my videos, and those I can answer, I will. And some actually, might be ideas for future videos and future looks at the radio. Carl Davin, I think your name. Carl says that the ATS 25 is very good for NDB hunting, so perhaps it receives very well on the lower frequency bands. It's something I can have a look at. I did have an issue, as you've seen in the videos, with long wave, with noise, but only on the telescopic. On an external antenna, we haven't got that noise problem, so maybe we look at the NDB beacons. Tony Magnia, is this worth the extra money? Well, I guess you mean the extra money over the ATS 20. That depends. I think RF-wise, RF performance, the actual signal receive performance, in fact, in some areas, I think the ATS 20 is a little bit better. It depends how much emphasis you want to put on the screen. Now, the screen is obviously clear, it's bright, and the touch screen aspect allows you to navigate the functions of the receiver a lot better than you could ever do with the ATS 20. There's a number of other videos from people more knowledgeable than me about the internals of this radio. Now, I said when I had it originally, the encoder felt better, just tuning, and a couple of people have remarked in other videos that it's better quality. So that's going to be a big plus point. It's much the screen, the touch screen element, and the software that's behind it makes the receiver easier to use. It's easy to change frequency and mode and so on. I guess the extra money, depends what you mean by the extra money. I've seen these things are up to £150 on eBay, and I've seen them around the 80 UK pounds mark on AliExpress. I think that's still a bit too expensive for what these are, but maybe they're not likely to come that much lower. I don't know, because there's a relatively expensive component in here in comparison to the ATS 20, and that is the touch screen and the mechanism that goes behind it. So I don't know. Certainly not worth 150 UK pounds, or I'll put the dollars equivalent, but no way. 80 UK pounds or equivalent, well, maybe. There's been a couple of questions about battery life. There's a much larger battery in the ATS 25, so I don't think battery life is going to be too much of an issue. I've only charged this one so far and used it quite a bit, but I'll do a little bit more of an in-depth look at battery life. I'll run this up against the ATS 20 and maybe a traditional portable receiver, and we'll see how long they run for, but I don't think battery life's going to be too bad. Ben Trucker asked me, is it possible to change the colour of the screen? Not from the radio itself, but I dare say if you modify the Arduino sketch, which is something again we can look at in the future, it is possible to upgrade the firmware that's on this radio. You may be able to alter the colour of the screen by altering the sketch. That's quite possible. Where to buy one of these? Well, you'll see them advertised a lot on eBay now. Certainly in the UK I found them to be cheaper on AliExpress. This one came from AliExpress. Haven't had any problems with getting the delivery, and this arrived fully functional, so that's all I can say on that one. I've had a remark that the radio's still using Tony P says it's still the same garbage front. I think he means the front styling, and you've got the 4 exposed screws on the front of the radio, same as the ATS 20. Yeah, it is. It's just like the case is a bigger version of the ATS 20 case. It is what it is. I suppose it could be better style, but you know, that's what it is. How do I rate the radio within the price range? Well, as I've said, the price range is so variable, it's hard to say. If someone was paying £150 for it, I'd say it's vastly overpriced. Even at the £80 or so I paid for this one, you're in the realms of something like an XH Data 808 would be a cheaper radio, and probably a better built radio, dare I say, and there'll be a video about that coming out in the future. How do I rate it? Overpriced, I'd say, would be the summary of it. I've been asked a couple of times what antenna I use. Mainly for most of the tests I do on this, I'm either using its own telescopic, which we've seen a few videos for, or I've got a G5RV antenna, which is one of the antennas I use for my amateur radio activities as well. It's a G5RV, full size. It's up at about 30 feet or so, inverted V. Works very well for shortwave listening, and that's what you'll see used when I'm using an external antenna. I've got a couple of other antennas. I've got a Wellbrook loop, which I tend to use on medium wave, and I've got a mini whip active antenna as well, which I use sometimes, but I haven't used on the ATS 25. KB and a number of other people have actually asked us about the ATS 20 as well. Is it possible to use it on airband? No, it doesn't. The chip, the SI4732, doesn't cover airband. You can't get it working on airband. And H-Yam asks, is there stereo if you plug stereo headphones into the jack? Stereo on FM? Yes, there is. I tried that just now, and yeah, stereo works on it. Tony Magnia asks, can you turn the screen off? At the moment, no. Now again, with a modified Arduino sketch, maybe. I guess then you'd have to have something like a button press on the tuning knob to turn it back on, because if you've turned it off, I'm assuming the touch function won't work. But as it comes to you with the sketch, I'm talking about sketch, I'm talking about the Arduino firmware, if you like this on the radio, the one that comes with it, no, you can't turn the screen off. I'm assuming maybe that could be addressed on future updates or modifications of the sketch. I don't know. At the moment you can't turn it off. Ray Bocco, is there selectable filtering on the FM band? Not as far as I'm aware. Haven't found any. The caveat here is no instructions with this at all, and you've got to work a lot of it out for yourself. Again, I think that's probably something that could be modified with a modified firmware sketch, Arduino sketch. But at the moment, I think the answer to that one is no. A couple of people have responded to the noise issue, saying that if I grounded the case, that would help, or maybe eliminate it. And I tend to agree. The noise issue isn't noticeable at any rate on an external antenna, coaxial fed external antenna anyway, such as I use. And also I demonstrated, I think in one of the videos, if you touch the case, the noise decreases. So yes, I think grounding would help. But the point is, if you're going to be operating this portable on this telescopic, you're not really going to want to run a ground wire and a ground stick, are you? So that's where it compromises the radio for portable operation, is that screen noise. Grounding the case would undoubtedly help. And Yuan asks, is the ATS 20 better? That's one of those million-dollar questions, isn't it, really? I suspect that, as I said earlier, RF receiving wise, it may be slightly better. There's an issue with breakthrough on long wave with this radio, which I've demonstrated in a video. There's also the screen noise issue, which when you're working on its telescopic does make it less sensitive. The ATS 20 doesn't have those problems. The ATS 20 has quite a few quality control problems. There's been numerous people where the encoder's failed on them, which has on one of mine. I did have a commenter on an ATS 20 video telling me a 5-year-old could replace the encoder. I don't know how he knows that. I don't know any 5-year-olds that do solder. If I did, I'd have got them to replace my encoder. At best, it's a fiddly job, I would say. I've got some parts of an ATS-20 that I've been playing around with, and I'm going to substitute an encoder on one of the spare front, or only one of the spare front panel I have, and see if I can get that to work. I have got a spare encoder here, but again, is it a better... I think if they put a decent quality encoder on there, and they got the soldering right, and a lot of them, I've read that people have had problems with the Arduino hasn't been properly soldered. I had that issue, and I managed to repair that. If they could up the quality control on the ATS-20, it's a nice little radio. It's good fun. The screen's awfully small, but it performs reasonably well. And it might, I think it's got the edge RF wise, but then the navigation of the functions is so much easier on the ATS-25 because of the touch screen. So I don't know. I think the better bet is probably an ATS-20 if you haven't got a lot of money to spend. You can now get them constructed for, I don't know, sort of 40 UK pounds, something like that. And for that price, it's worth a go, even if you have to play around a little bit with it. The ATS-25 is in a different category, isn't it, price-wise? So those are just my feelings. I'll do a sort of summing up video on this when I've done a few more tests. There's still a fair bit to do on it. I'd also like to have a go at upgrading the firmware, the Arduino Sketch, because I know there is an updated one. It's a little bit more complex than the ATS-20. I'm reluctant to do it yet before I finish my test, because you can cause issues. I know people say you can't brick them by doing it wrongly, but I'm not so sure actually. But anyway, we'll do a few more tests as it is, and then we'll look to upgrade the Sketch and see whether that brings about any improvements. Might bring about some improvement on the functionality side. It's unlikely to bring about any improvement on the RF receive side. Anyway, there you go. Those are my feelings. I hope you found that useful and some questions answered. And if you've got any more, just let me know. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.